Greg Smith.
Great, and if you'd all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have two upcoming meeting dates, one on October 15th and one on November 6th. And is November 6th the one that's the Wednesday meeting? I think that might be a Wednesday. Is that next to the election? Yeah. So just a reminder about that. And we have a couple of sets of minutes to approve. Our July 16th minutes. Everybody was here except Craig. So do I have a motion to accept the minutes of July 16th?
So moved. Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And Craig, you'll
Abstain.
abstain. Thank you. Okay, and if it's all right, I haven't had a chance to go through August 6th yet, so if we can hold off on that until the next meeting, that would be great. All right, the first item on our agenda tonight is a decision for Lehigh Landscaping amended site plan on Sprout Creek Court and Route 376.
Good evening. Last time the board saw it, we were talking about landscaping. We were gracious enough to have a meeting in my office with Michelle, Mr. O'Brien. Dan was there, although Mr. O'Brien was on the phone a lot and he wasn't paying a lot of attention.
You weren't
One
paying
phone call and you're labeled for life.
Wow. Hard.
So, we, at the meeting, we had agreed to basically this area behind both the building and the proposed storage bins. We're actually showing the trees. I think on our original plan, we were showing, I want to say half scale. After talking to experts, these are more in line with what the size will be. And we're basically going to, whatever we have to do to get these in here. And then I think we agreed to revisit it in the spring or what have you.
Okay.
One of the other things that we talked about, which I'm going to bring to the board.
And I'm sorry, Mark, the intent would be to do the planting in the spring as well, or?
I'm not sure. Is it? Oh, it just depends on how it's.
Okay, all right.
Is that all right with the board though? If we wait, because we may lose the season.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just wasn't sure whether I wasn't sure whether you were going to install that and then have us look at it, or whether we were going to install the bins and then come and look at it to determine whether it was necessary. Because I think that's where we left off at our last meeting, so maybe that's changed.
Well, I think we were talking about installing the bins so you see it all at once, and then that way you see it.
Finalizing
And
planting.
if we have to fill it in, we fill it in, or what have you.
All right.
So we're not sure, excuse me, Martha, we're not sure if we're gonna need the trees at the end, because there is a little bit more of a buffer towards the far
Right.
end.
Okay.
So if it looks like, we obviously don't want them to have to remove any vegetation that might be buffering the view.
Right.
So if that exists there and it's heavy and it's still existing once the bins are in, we can keep that and then either move some of those other trees into the other area or take them out altogether.
Okay. Very good.
One of the other things I'd like to discuss with the board, as you know, Alan's business is basically, he does a lot of the unilock walls. They do barbecue pits and things like that. We were talking during the meeting, and we wanted to bring it up. If he were to, let's say, take an area for display, if he was to take an area for display, this area here, is that something he would have to come back to the board, or can we deal with the building department with that?
Would it be a permanent display where you're actually?
They're not permanent, but Unilock gives you, like sample
Like
blocks.
pavers and.
Yeah, and you put those up, and you display them for people to purchase.
I think you should deal with it here. I think you should deal with it here, just,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
understand
Michelle, I
it
think that's
and,
gonna end up being
and just
under
address it here.
the structure definition.
It would technically be under structure definition, so technically, we talked about that at the meeting. It wouldn't be allowed within the setback, but there are spots on the site. I don't think that area where you were pointing out is within the setback, right?
Right, that's where the septic is, this area here, we're back behind the setback. But we were just curious how we proceed. We don't know.
So what you would do
I'm
is,
sorry.
you you would come to us for a minor site plan amendment,
Right.
and you just have, here's what we want to install, here's how long it's gonna be there, if it's
Right.
gonna be permanent or whatever, you would come back to us for a minor site plan amendment.
Correct.
And then could they technically just write a letter and then we may not even,
Correct.
we may not even have to come before the
It's
board?
not an actual application process, as long as it's a minor amendment. That being said, though, Jeannie, is there an application fee? I'm not sure what we do with the minor site plan amendments by letter.
There is,
So there is some sort of a fee for that, but.
Okay.
there is a fee.
Yeah, we don't have a formal plan, as you may imagine, but we do want the option to be able to do it.
So are we gonna like identify an area per se, in case they change it, they don't have to come back, just designate an area that if they wanna update their.
It sounds like right now they're not ready to do that, so at the point where they're ready to do that, then yes, they would come back with whatever they're looking for.
We put it in a place that meets with zoning, but we just don't know where that, I mean, more than likely, it's gonna be this area here. Anything else in here is in the front yard setback, and based on our meeting, we can't really do that. So whatever we do, we'll make sure it complies with zoning.
Okay. Any other changes or updates, or?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Brandon, anything we need to talk about before we offer the resolution? Michelle? Joe?
No?
Scott? Tom? All right. Any other questions or comments from board members before we offer the resolution? All right. Can I have somebody offer the resolution? I know there's a few changes to it.
Thank you, sir.
Mike, thank you.
Resolution of amended site plan approval. The name of the site plan, Lehigh Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated. The name of the applicant, Lehigh Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated. Location, Sprout Creek Court. Resolution offered by Planning Board member Michael O'Brien. Whereas an application for planning board approval of an amended site development pursuant to Chapter 194 of the Town of East Fishkill Code for an existing 7,552 square foot building, warehouse, and outdoor equipment and landscape material storage was submitted by Lehigh Lawn and Landscaping Incorporated on a set of drawing plans entitled Lehigh Lawn and Landscaping Amended Site Plan prepared by Mark Day Engineering, PLC, latest revision dated February 19th. Excuse me, that's the last set, February 19th?
No, it's dated
It says
February
revised through
19th.
What's the
September
revised?
23rd.
And
Oh,
revised
I'm
to
sorry,
the-
and latest revision, okay, sorry, September 23rd, 2013, that's the one that was changed, okay. Whereas the subject property of 2 acres is located on Sprout Creek Court and Route 82 and designated on the Town of East Fishkill tax maps as grid number 655801, 480578, and owned by Francis Elmendorf, the original site plan approved for Mid-Hudson Floor Incorporated. And whereas, as required by the Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, for the proposed unlisted action, the applicant completed and submitted Part 1 of the full environmental form dated April 25th, 2013. Whereas the planning board determined the proposed action to be a type 2 action under SECRA with no further review is required. Whereas a public hearing was held pursuant to Chapter 194 of the Town of East Fishkill Code and pursuant to Chapter 274A of the New York State Town Law on said application at the East Fishkill Town Hall, 330 Route 376, Hopewell Junction, New York, on August 6th, 2013, at 7:30 PM, adjourned to other dates, and closed on September 17th, 2013. And whereas the public hearing notice for this application was published in the Southern Dutchess News, and whereas the subject public hearing notice was mailed to adjacent and across the street property owners within 500 feet, and the subject property was posted with a sign giving notice of the public hearing. And whereas the subject application was referred to the Town of East Fishkill Conservation Advisory Council, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Town Engineering Department, the Town Highway Superintendent, the Fire Advisory Board, and the Dutchess County Planning Board, and the town's traffic consultant. And whereas since no changes to the exterior of the structure are prepared, no approval by the Town Architectural Review Board is required. And whereas comments in response to referrals of the subject application were considered by the planning board, as well as written and verbal comments made in response to the subject application at the public hearing. And whereas the planning board conducted a site inspection of the subject premises, and now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby issues final site plan approval for the above project as represented on a map entitled Amended Site Plan, Lehigh Lawn and Landscaping prepared by Mark Day Engineering, dated February 19th, 2013, and revised through September 23rd, 2013. Be it further resolved that this approval is subject to the following conditions, which must be completed before the plan is signed by the planning board chair. 1, the modification set forth in the town engineer's letter dated September 23rd, 2013. 2, obtain the required signatures from the Department of Health, the approvals for sign-off of the town engineer, planner, and attorney, as well as the town consulting engineer and highway superintendent, and submit 5 prints to the, and the Mylar of said drawing to the planning office, and B, submit as built survey in an AutoCAD file in digital format upon completion. That's upon, wow, okay.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, you want Mylar? You want a Mylar?
Not just the copies.
Okay, just got 5 copies? And it, you want a CD with AutoCAD in it?
Of the as-built.
Oh, but it's
When
a
you finish.
PDF or it's an actual AutoCAD format?
What is it? I don't think there's a problem doing both, actually, if you can just, or just give us the CAD, we'll convert to a PDF. We have CAD, that's fine.
So an as-built, okay, so we'll have surveyor providing it.
Right, just update your drawing and then just.
Okay.
Let's have Mike finish reading the conditions, then we'll come back and
Oh, I'm
revisit.
sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead, Mike, you're on 3.
Good catch. On page 1, refers to 82.
Let's finish reading the conditions, and then we'll make changes.
Okay, 3, obtain verification of the receiver of taxes of an appropriate form indicating the taxes on the subject property have been paid. 4, the applicant is advised that the conditions of this approval must be satisfied, and the site plan drawing signed by the planning board chairman and any required permits obtained prior to the beginning of any related work on the subject property. 5, submit lighting plan with photometrics and add the same to the site plan to the satisfaction of the planning consultant. 6, no material processing or screening is allowed on the site. 7, all applicants' equipment and vehicles used on the site will be equipped with collision-activated silent backup alarms. 8, all landscaping shall be set forth in the landscaping plan submitted herein last revised September 25th, 2013. It is understood that some field changes to the landscaping may be necessary during construction. If field changes are required, the applicant will work with the town building department to modify the landscaping plan.
You don't have to read the rest.
Yes. Good catch. 9, any blocks or concrete used to separate bin areas will be stained a color to be approved by the Architectural Review Board. 10, a dust control plan will be submitted and approved by the town engineer and must be utilized when conditions warrant. 11, all requirements of the original site plan approval for this site, unless modified herein, remain in full force and effect. 11, maintenance bond as required by code. Okay.
Okay, we have a few things to update. You said you had something on page 1, Mike?
If John caught the fact that it says Route 82, it's actually 376.
Oh, very good. Okay. Tom, number 6, do we need to have that as a note on the plan, or is it sufficient to leave it here with a reference that,
Well, it's, he could put it on the plan, but it's fine just in the resolution.
Okay.
What is 6?
That's no material processing or
Oh.
screening.
I'm sorry, Mark, we should have given you a draft of this. I'll hand you mine when we're done.
Actually, that is noted on the plans already.
It is
He
on-
does have it on there.
All right, and then 9, is it the ARB that would approve the concrete wall, or should that be?
I think we decided that this was not gonna be referred to the ARB. So I think at this point, we were gonna, the other thing we discussed, and I actually talked to Scott about this, was, we would, originally Scott had asked that they maybe texture the blocks, and we've decided that that wouldn't be necessary if we
Or
have the
color them.
screening. But depending on basically how it looks, how much we see of the wall, we may need to color it with and you had said some sort of acid
Acid
stain?
stain, yeah.
Okay. And that color, I guess depending on, I know that you're planning on changing the color of the building, right? So I guess that would have to be
To match.
coordinated, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, is it, if there's, I'm sorry, if there's holes in the screening, we're
I
gonna do
think we
this?
have to see how it looks,
Okay.
just to determine whether or not, you know.
So why don't we leave it approved by the planning consultant?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe,
But
Tom,
how
we
many
could combine
materials
8 and 9 into a single paragraph so that the appearance of the wall and the finishing of the landscaping can just be done in the field.
Mhm. I
Excuse me.
think that's
That's okay.
Outside.
Are we okay if we combine 8 and 9, so the appearance of the wall and the finishing determination of the screening all gets done at the
Absolutely.
same time, at the same?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if we just
So
combine
we'll
those two.
combine 8 and 9.
Okay. And that way, you know, Mark, you guys aren't bouncing back and forth between different people, you just work with the building
Okay.
department.
Okay.
Okay. Were there any other changes?
Lori, just the date for our letter is September 6th, and then Mark submitted plans subsequent to that about a week ago. We haven't issued a new letter, but now we're at the point of decision, we can just work out whatever's left.
So your
between
letter
now.
September 6th?
Yes.
Okay.
6th.
So change
So
item
item 1 is
1 under the
September
theater.
6th.
Right.
Okay. Any other changes?
I may have an issue with the AutoCAD. The surveyor may not want to release his AutoCAD file.
Okay, will you be able to give us a PDF
Oh,
of
yeah,
that document?
absolutely, sure.
Then
Yeah,
PDF will
so
be
we'll make it-
acceptable in lieu
Is
of
that
an
all right?
AutoCAD document.
So,
Okay.
You have a question? That's fine. Yeah.
The backhoe alarms, I have a DOT consultant, and trucks aren't usually manufactured with them, they're not manufactured with them. Legally, you can't make them put on, when they put a body put on, they put a backup alarm on, so legally in New York State, you guys can check me, whatever, but if they have a backup alarm from the manufacturer, they're supposed to have it. If they don't have one, then legally you can't make someone put one on.
Okay. Where is that? Maybe I
You guys
missed
said
it.
you want a backup alarm.
It's on item 7. It says all applicants' equipment and vehicles used on site will be equipped with collision-activated silent.
If we change it
Backup.
to with state-required collision
Well,
activated?
let's just separate. I think the original intent here for the silent backup is for your loader.
the on-site equipment,
The
not the
material that's
trucks.
gonna
Oh,
stay,
we're not talking trucks then?
No, just the
Material that's
equipment
gonna
used
be-
regularly on the site.
So do we cross out the word vehicles?
So we're gonna take out the "and vehicles"? Scott, are you comfortable
Well, it
with that?
says vehicles
Yeah.
used on site.
I would include
So if you
on-site, if you have a delivery truck that's used primarily from the site, that along with the loader would have the backup alarm. But if you have people coming in off the street for supplies, I mean, we're not gonna police that, but just any equipment or vehicles that you use on a day-to-day basis.
The loaders come right from manufacturer with the backup alarm. so
Okay.
That's not a problem, but the trucks, it's a big thing.
Well, the one thing though, with those backup alarms, typically they're the 100% audible alarms, and we're requiring the silent backup alarms. They're like a sonar activated, so they're not all day long you're hearing this backup alarm when it's not really necessary. And we can give you some information on that.
Okay. So it would be all applicants' equipment and we'll strike vehicles that are used
Well-
on the site.
Well,
As long as like a
but
dump truck, a delivery truck would be included in that.
if the applicant doesn't own the delivery truck, how can we require that?
No, but if
I mean-
it's their delivery truck, we're saying if they're delivering.
Right.
Oh, if
mulch
they're delivering to
or
customers, and
stone
I
or
understand, I thought you were
block,
talking
if
about
it's-
delivery to the site of material.
No, no,
I mean,
no,
you
we're
can't
talking
control
with
that.
if they're delivering material.
Okay.
Like, so like they have all these like landscape trucks. We'd ask if they are coming to the site on a daily recurring basis, that they have backup.
Okay, and you're saying.
But they're easy
you're-
if they don't have one
Oh,
already, I mean, it's
okay.
easy to put on. yeah.
Okay, and you're saying your trucks don't necessarily have that because the
No,
state doesn't
no.
require it?
A lot of the trucks do have it, but they only, from what I understand from the consultant that they friends of money to,
Yeah.
is if the truck is built, then you have to keep it on. If the truck comes from the manufacturer, that you would not
You get paid.
obligated, there's no law that you put it on.
Okay,
Steel siding building.
so Scott, were you listening? There's apparently not a law that requires the backup alarm on the truck, so this is part of a site plan approval that we're requiring vehicles on site to have this?
Yeah, just like if you were to pull onto a county or a DOT job, they're gonna make it mandatory that that truck has a backup alarm regardless if it came from the factory
Well, right,
or
but that's
not.
it, okay.
So it's the same thing, you've got a site with trucks back and forth, all right, that we want the backup alarm, but not just the loud backup alarm that's going all
The
day
beeping
long.
alarm, not
Right,
that.
Right. I mean, we'll work out the trucks based on the frequency, but the main thing is the loader, and if he's got a truck that's dedicated to delivering. If he's got these vehicles that come in sporadically, we'll work that out with him.
Okay. Is that a concern for you? I just wanna, I don't wanna do something here that brings you back to us for alarms on a truck.
I'm thinking that there's not, you know, in the morning from 6 to 8 of July, feeling after that it's gonna be over. You know, I mean, I can't say that someone won't come in or out, but I don't think there'll be a lot of activity, a lot of, you know, I mean, as far as I know, every loader we have all out, they all come right with backup alarms.
Okay.
I don't know about the sonar thing, how that works, but I'll definitely look into it.
And Scott, what if the truck doesn't have a silent backup alarm? What if it has an audible backup alarm? Are we saying they have to convert them in this zone?
It depends on how many trips a day, I would say. You know, the loader's gonna be there presumably all day loading. You know, if the truck is doing nothing but making short hauls, 20-minute trips all day long, and he's making 15 trips out of there, we'd want that truck treated the same as the loader. But if it's 3 or 4 loads a day, we wouldn't treat it that way. So we really gotta get a little, so as long as they agree to work with us, I think we'll just work it out that way.
You're comfortable?
Okay.
So the main
I
delivery
mean,
truck
this
and
isn't
loader.
giving you any.
Or for that matter, forklift, if they have a forklift on
But
site.
Scott, I guess my concern is that this is not giving you any discretion. So should we say, you know, based on usage of the vehicles at the site?
Or
Or
as
something
agreed to
like
with the
that,
town
or as
engineer.
agreed with the,
yeah.
town
Yeah.
engineer, or something like that, so that you have the ability to kind of figure out exactly how you want to implement that.
I know that's not what you intend, but I was thinking if we just stuck the word exclusively, equipment used exclusively on site has to have that, and then the rest of it is.
But I
I
think
mean,
what Scott's getting
You know,
at
but that
is,
delivery
Right, but I
truck
mean-
that's running all week long, that's, yeah.
Right, but I'm not sure I really want to have folks leaving with, well, we'll sort it out as we go. I mean,
Well, if you say exclusively, then that would umbrella in the truck that's used for the local delivery runs. But it would not cover his morning trucks coming in
Okay.
with supplies and materials.
Okay.
So that would kind of be,
I'm sorry, Tom, I couldn't hear what
I
you were saying.
said if you insert the word used exclusively on the site, that would include the loaders and the forklifts, and it would probably encompass perhaps the local delivery truck that's coming back and forth, but it's not going to cover his deliveries, you know, then when he brings material in the morning, or customers' trucks, things like that.
Right.
It's not going to be affected by it.
Right.
Right.
Something new, or,
It seems like something very new. We've never had something that restricts
we just did
vehicles on-
almost the same thing up on 82. We never talked about backup alarms. I mean,
Oh, absolutely did.
We did?
Yeah,
It was in the resolution?
Yeah.
yes. And they actually are the ones that came, showed us that there's the sonar activated backup alarm,
All right.
that it
I
only
didn't remember
trips
that.
if there's something.
I guess
Stand
my,
corrected.
but
Yeah, no, we're
that's
just trying to
something,
be the same as we treated.
I don't remember talking.
Treated that project, that we're just trying to be consistent.
okay. But again, are we saying that these have to be silent alarms?
Only on the no, it's only on the equipment that's used exclusively at the site.
So does your
Like on the
equipment have
opposite-
silent alarms right now on it?
No, he has to look into it.
He's saying no, though. I mean, he knows his equipment.
It's on all the time.
We're-
Anytime you back up, it's on.
Snow or whatever, and they want alarms, because it's dark and, you know, they have people walking back and forth in the apartment complex and shopping centers. I mean, most of the stuff, you know, another month is all on sites, nothing's there. There may be one machine there. I mean, right now, this time of year, then they all come back, but in the winter, every loader skids their backhoe I have, all goes out to sites.
Well, why don't you rephrase and just say that the applicant will work with the town engineer to minimize backup alarms on site, and if there's any issue, come back.
If we did it on the other one on 82, why don't we use the same phrasing? What are we doing?
Well, it was that was the same.
That was the
Just
same
changed
one?
it.
All right, so then that one was vague.
But I think the other,
But we have an applicant sitting here saying, my equipment doesn't have
Yeah.
silent alarms.
but I think to be fair to this applicant, the other applicant knew that that was a recurring issue in the public hearings, so that they were able to review it and be comfortable with it before you adopted the resolution.
Right.
This applicant hasn't had
That
the
time,
ability
yeah.
to do that, so I can understand why he's
Well,
a
and
little
then-
apprehensive
right, there also
about
may be a
it.
different surrounding area here. as-
Correct.
So, okay. All right. So you'll say to minimize noise on site?
Mhm.
Okay. Is that reasonable? Are we comfortable with that?
So we're taking the word exclusively out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Tom, can you just read back to us what you're gonna put in there?
Well, are you gonna, it's your I'm glad Mark asked. So we have your all applicants' equipment used on the site will be equipped to minimize the noise of the backup alarms. So whatever is doable will be done.
We actually identified it in the Gagliardi resolution. I think we actually had the proper term for it, which we can.
Yeah, collision activated sign.
Collision activated, I think, yeah.
But in this, we're gonna go a step further, we're gonna reduce it to say, to minimize the noise created by the backup alarms.
Yeah, the real intent is not so much to have backup alarms OSHA compliant or something like that, it's just to try to minimize the noise on site. You got a
Oh, I agree with
daycare, you
that,
got a
yeah.
daycare behind there, and maybe if there's other offices.
Only come
that's
on
the
if there's
reason.
something behind
Rail
it.
trail.
You know, if they back over one of their workers because they don't have a backup alarm, we're not policing that.
But the whole point, I thought the whole point is that it goes off if there is something behind you.
That's when it goes,
Yeah.
rather than going off automatically when you
Right.
put it in reverse.
Like the ones on your cars.
It goes
But it
off
sounds like
with-
you have to hit something to activate it.
I don't think so, I
No.
think it goes off.
Pre-
when
It says
there's-
collision activated, then what does that
All right, I agree with you. That is,
I'm just reading.
Collision
it's a
avoidance.
collision activated.
Boom! It lets out a big ouch.
I mean, personally, I would like the beeping sound so I can get out of the way, but if we want to wait till we hit something, I guess. I don't know, okay. But these things work, Scott, we've experienced these, we're comfortable with,
Well, we haven't seen them installed yet, but we have the cut sheets on them.
all right. All right.
I don't like the
think
ones
this
they're
is
putting on
sufficiently
cars.
listed if
Just
we
like the
We
decide
have a
that this
Lexus
is-
or something, they have these things, if you get close, they go beep, beep, beep when you get close, you know?
Okay. Okay. Interesting, all right.
We good?
Mark, are,
It's the same thing
Yeah.
if you're going down the rail trail.
Yeah.
Turn the backup alarm all
All
day
right.
long.
all right. All right, any other changes, amendments? Okay, Mike, go ahead and finish up.
Be it further resolved that the approval of said site development plan shall be valid for a period of 12 months and that the date of this resolution to satisfy all conditions of approval and to obtain the signature of the planning board chairman on the site development plan. If there is no substantial change in the condition of the site and/or its environs, the site development plan approval may be extended by the planning board for one, this was the one you wanted to change or not? For one additional period of 1 year upon timely application of this applicant and a written explanation of the reason for the delay, which requires the granting of a time extension. And be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the planning board shall cause a copy of this resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Okay, do I have a second? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and votes as follows. Jason?
Aye.
John Hutzko?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
John Cutler?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
And myself, aye. The motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a discussion for Stone Ridge Commons site plan on Route 52 and, thank you, and Round Hill Road.
Yeah, but this is,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sure who they is, so. Oh, Gem Electric, that's fine,
That's fine, we can switch.
fine, if that's okay with you guys.
You guys want
Okay, so we'll skip over item 2 right now, we'll move to item 3, 1020 LLC Gem Electric site plan on Route 82.
yeah,
And come on up, we just ask you to give your names for the record so we can capture them in our minutes.
Hi, I'm Heidi Morgan. And we're just here to discuss the moving of a sign from its original location on the plan.
Okay, so we have in our packages tonight, guys, we have a letter from Mike Gillespie's office that gives us a drawing of your current site plan. It shows us where the sign is now and where you want to move it to.
Same sign?
Excuse me?
Same sign? You're just moving it?
It's not there yet?
Oh, you don't even?
No,
oh,
it's
you don't even
brand new.
have it.
I mean, it's a proposed moving of the sign.
Okay,
It's an approved sign.
Yes.
so you're not changing the size of the sign?
No,
or-
I'm following Mary Nix's order of 6 by 6 and no hot taller than 16 feet high.
Okay, very good.
Sure.
Not that you know the rules or anything. Okay, got it. All right, and so the drawing that we have that shows the sign fairly close to the road, you're moving it back away from the road, so the new location is further from the road to give better sight distance?
It's actually closer to the road. We need more visibility. It's gonna be roughly 17 to 18 feet from the white line.
Okay, because I'm seeing,
I think he
can I
just
just
wrote
have you
it,
step up
he
for a
wrote it
sec?
wrong.
He wrote proposed site, I just want to make sure we have the right information, so if you don't mind.
No, that's the actual proposed
But that's the
sign,
proposed sign
originally.
and the approved
Okay,
sign.
so this is your original
Yeah,
proposed?
that's-
Okay, you're
right,
moving it
so
up.
that's it.
Okay,
Which makes sense.
I got you.
I think it's kind of weird where,
Okay. So,
yeah, why?
so did Mike?
Correct.
I'm sorry, we'll go, I'll have you come to the microphone, thank you. Did Mike have did he check the site distance for cars exiting your site to make sure the new location's not gonna block site distance in or out of the?
I was told by Mary to do that myself. I actually sent pictures and everything in. I presented that to Mike as well.
He has that in the letter that his office has visited the site and based upon its location, adequate site distance is provided as not to impede traffic at the site entrance.
We have a major entrance. It's a wide DOT, I mean, it's really a big,
Just by the looks of
Okay.
it, it doesn't look like it's gonna be.
Okay.
according to
All right.
Michael, he said DOT requires 12 feet from the white line.
And you're far enough back,
Yeah, we're-
looks like
yeah, we're not-
he's got 17 to 18 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you meet your side yard setback 12 feet from the side yard?
Is it gonna be lit? Is the sign gonna be lit?
Yes.
The sign itself
Well,
lighted, or
we have to have it lit.
floor lights shining up on it?
No, we're gonna do it in a way,
Okay,
Which is gonna be, you know, it's gonna be kind of like.
okay. All
we
right.
could focus it away so it doesn't shine on the traffic, if that's what
Right.
you're worried about.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
making sure they're angled a
We'll
bit.
do whatever necessary.
Okay,
I would just ask maybe that they put stakes in the ground prior to actually constructing the sign on well and take a look at it.
let's take a look at where the location will be.
Yeah, I don't, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
just get a stake down and take a look.
Okay, and Scott, was there anything else that the building department wanted to offer? I see this as a minor site plan amendment, it doesn't seem like it's a big change.
No, it's just proposed to be a letter request to the board, and if the board's okay with it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other comments or questions?
No, I agree, it's a very minor change.
Okay, does someone want to offer a motion to accept the minor amendment of the sign location at the 1020 LLC site?
So moved.
Second?
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you're all set. Just please work with the building department, like Scott asked, to have the stakes set out there, and we can check the site location.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll move back to item 2 on our agenda for Stone Ridge Commons site plan on Route 52 and Round Hill Road. And thank you, Mark, that was
Thanks,
very
Mark.
nice. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Give this call back.
Wrong one.
That's good.
Since we were last here, we met with the fire commissioners earlier last week. We discussed with them some of the things that they were concerned with, and we discussed they were talking about possibly connecting this. We had mentioned that there's a 14-foot difference in grade there. One of the things we discussed is modifying this. We're gonna be putting in like a pad here. We're gonna be moving to these two spaces somewhere else so that they're able to pull in here as far as they can and then be able to back out and then come around. We're also probably gonna modify this area, so we put a pad in here that they're able to come in and back the truck in and then turn around and come out. And there were some other minor changes that we discussed with them that they want us to make. We're gonna be widening, or I'm sorry, increasing the radii on this. And generally movements. They're concerned about snow on the side of the travelways, so that, because their bumpers actually overhang slightly. So we've decided to widen things and spread things out a little bit.
I think, just Mark, if I could, I think if you look in the New York State Fire Code, I think it's section 503, there's an appendix D, I think, that has like different turnarounds for
Right.
WD-40. So you might be able to pick from those options, ones that you can.
Yeah, we were
fit in
looking at the
there.
hammerhead.
There's a hammerhead, there's an alternative hammerhead, there's a few different layouts
Okay.
that you might be able to.
That's what we discussed. We're gonna go back to them once we, put everything
The
together.
thing is, you gotta just be able to demonstrate the WD-40 can get turned around in a 3-point or whatever.
They want us to use the bigger truck, so we're gonna model that as well.
Was the fire advisory board part of any of this, or? Just the commissioners?
The Fire Advisory Board already made comments.
I'm
I was
sorry?
gonna say, this
They
was
made
circulated to
comments.
the fire advisory
They
board, yes.
may come, okay.
Yeah.
I just was wondering if they were
They're
involved. in
similar.
that. Okay.
They're similar. They asked about the sprinkler system. We told them we don't have a source of water. We may, at the time this is constructed, I think. I'm not sure, though. So we mentioned that to them.
Does that require tank storage on site, or you would have a public source
Well,
that has enough
you'd rather have
pressure?
a water source and a main, you'd rather, a tank is, it's cumbersome.
I, just if I could, they will ultimately have water, it's a matter of when. And I think maybe they were also part
Would have
of, I
water
talked about
sufficient
having a
to-
dry line with dry sprinklers.
Yep.
Because ultimately you'll have water, it's just a matter of when.
Someday.
So I think it
Okay.
pays to construct the building in such a
Right.
manner that however many years it takes, you have your water, and then from that point on, you're sprinklered.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think we agreed to that, depending on
Okay,
whatever the building codes are at that time.
okay.
So I guess at this meeting, we were.
So, Mark, I
Sorry.
think we had a couple things that you were changing. You needed to update your application and your EAF to indicate the inclusion of the subdivision.
Correct.
We have those on file now, I think. Was there anything else that we needed to be able to circulate for lead agency?
We have everything we need.
Okay. So, before we talk about the next step, which will be the public hearing, do I have a motion to circulate for lead agency?
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So Mark, you'll work with the planning office, of course, to figure out the distribution
Yes,
and make sure we
yeah.
have the full packages to
With
go out.
Michelle as well.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on the plan? The changes you're talking about to me sound fairly minor before we would
We think.
schedule it for public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a rush to get into a public hearing. I want to make the board comfortable. If you guys want to,
Wait, I think you have to wait for the circulation and then.
Yeah, I was gonna set it
it'll
out at
come
least
back on your
45 days,
agenda.
so.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, as long as you're comfortable to, I mean, we obviously don't want to have a public hearing unless we got this thing, let's say, 75% tacked down.
Okay.
So, but I think we're
Well,
close.
we can wait till the circulation goes out and put you back on for discussion then to discuss the public hearing, that's fine.
And you'll have the comments back from any of the agencies.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it'd be the more prudent way to go.
okay. We have comments from some of the agencies, I think, on the prior version, right?
Right.
Okay. Brendan, any other items to discuss right now? I know we had some updates to the traffic study.
It hasn't, there hasn't been any further update of the traffic study at this point.
Okay,
There's still one outstanding comment letter.
okay.
I apologize if I couldn't find it, so When was the data in this collected?
The council?
I'm at a loss.
It was collected at different times. The intersection of Palin Road and 52 that data was recently collected. They also used some of the data that we had from the John Jay gas station and from the high school, so that's relatively recent too.
So when you say recent, I mean within the last year and a half?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That was-
within the last number of months, actually.
And it was done during the school year, not, okay.
And then they used some data for Palin Road and 82 that we had as part of a study with the town. That data is a little bit older, but, you know, we've recently verified that it's still it's still accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle, any other planning comments? I know you have a letter out with comments regarding the layout of the site and some things like that. Anything new, anything different from the last time we saw it? Okay. Joe?
No, just our, prior letters. We're looking to have them address some of those things if they can
Okay.
before.
Mark, the changes you're talking about making with the discussion with the fire folks, or, sorry, fire folks, not a technical term, but is that going to affect any of the drainage on site or change any of your calculations?
shouldn't.
It sounds like you're talking about adding pavement and impervious surface.
Well, if we do anything, we were gonna do, what they call a grass paver, which is.
Impervious paver?
It's it's actually a grass paver. It's got, it's grass, but it's suitable for an 80,000-pound truckload. We used them in Suffern, in a small project where they didn't want a very wide road, but yet the fire advisory board down there had to have a wider road for the vehicles. So we were able to do a grass paver about 6 feet out all the way around, and it's grass. It looks nice, it's mowable, and it doesn't, it needs to be plowed, but other than that, it's maintained just like normal
And
grass.
mowed just like lawn?
Yep. Yep. And it's,
So when you plow it, how do you not scalp it?
well, you gotta pick your plow up.
So, okay, so you
You
have
gotta
to
be
just.
smarter than what you're working
Okay.
on, so you gotta hold your plow up a little bit, because they went through that down there, they peeled it up. But underneath, it's a really heavy stone, so you're only gonna take off that, and then, but they know to raise it. So, and they do it anyway, so they can keep the windrows away from the bumpers. So, I'll show you, it's a pretty neat product.
Yeah, if you have something, we'd probably like to see that.
Yep,
It might
I'll
be useful in
certainly
other
bring that in.
projects, that'd be great. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments from board members? Or Mark, anything else that you need from us as far as direction or?
Nope, I think I got it all.
So this is the plan, what are the, other than the changes you just alluded to, there's nothing else that was kind of checked on
No, yes.
here. I know.
Well, we got the traffic information, we
Got the
have,
traffic, yeah.
you've now met with
Fire
the
commissioners.
fire advisory board and fire
Well, we
commissioners too,
met
I
with the
guess.
fire commissioners, we got comments from fire advisory board.
Okay, okay. What else was outstanding from your notes? Did I miss something?
There was a whole, this and that, the, minor changes with the buildings and whatnot, but, so basically it really does come down to the traffic issue.
Right.
Okay.
I think the only thing I might add to that, Lori, is, we had a little discussion with regards to showing an alternate plan, and, whether that's, when it goes out for circulation, whether it's gonna be clear, that from the board's perspective and the town's perspective as, how they want these agencies to look at it. So, there might need to be a letter that would go along with the circulation to put things into context so that it's understood by the agencies that are gonna be reviewing it.
Okay. Is that
That's fine.
acceptable? Okay.
Do I work with, who would write the letter? We write it, or?
Well, you submit the proposal, which you're gonna circulate to
Okay,
Michelle, and
so
then,
we'll go ahead and write that
yeah,
letter.
and then they'll work it out.
Okay. Good. We're so quiet tonight, I'm sorry, guys. I feel like we should be,
I guess that's it, we're on to the next time.
all right.
Next time.
Anything else on your list, Mark?
No,
One more day show today.
Okay. then I think we're fine. We'll circulate, we'll have you back on the agenda after your 30 days is up.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Skipping down to item 4 on our agenda, the discussion item for the Eagle Ridge Bond Extension on Katie's Way.
I didn't bring any graphics, sorry. We've actually done a lot of work this past summer. We did a lot of regrading, created a lot of new drainage swales. We put down 600 tons of shim last month. There was some work done up there with respect to a trench that was put into the tower. What we're asking the board, I recently wrote a letter to the town board asking that they grant us permission to put off paving this year till next year, just so the shim settles and the trench settles, and we're able to do, you know, a better project and not have settlement afterward. That's fine.
Okay. Scott, any concern, or Joe, any concern with this?
No, they've made a lot of progress, they've done anything we've asked them to do, they've been very cooperative, and I think it's a reasonable request, given the work they've done.
Okay, and is our bond on file, has it already been extended, or?
I'm sorry, the bond?
It says Eagle Ridge Bond Extension.
Oh, I think it's just,
I don't think it was a bond.
I think it's just we're
Was it not?
asking to just extend it till
I think we have
the
to
spring.
work with the bond company.
Yeah, usually if you approve the extension, then we send a letter to the bond company.
Right, so
saying
I'm
it's
asking,
been
when does the
extended.
bond expire, and?
December 12th.
December. Okay, so we've got plenty of time to get that done.
December 12th.
December 12th.
Okay, and so
So
you're
this would be
looking to,
predicated on an extension of the bond, right?
you're looking to extend the bond to June 1st and then not have to install the final top coat
Right,
until
till
sometime in
June,
the spring?
or in the spring, as soon as we can,
Okay,
or it's reasonable to do.
okay. Any change to the amount of the bond, or anything else we need to consider before we would act?
We haven't lowered the bond, so as long as we leave it in place, that's fine. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, the bond amount, I think, has been consistent over the past couple of years.
Okay, just
It's
because
at,
it's waiting
it's
for
at
the
its
same top
minimum
coat? Okay.
level, yeah.
And maintenance, okay. All right, and then
You're
do
gonna
I have,
extend- You're gonna extend the bond beyond June 1st, right?
I'm sorry.
Did you say you want to extend it to June 1st? or
Yeah, he's
beyond
gonna get
June?
an
We didn't make a motion
extension
yet.
from the bond company.
I'm just reading from the letter.
Oh, okay. I thought he wanted to do the work on June 1st.
Well, the bonds, are they normally,
You
aren't
would
they
extend
normally
it for
one-year
a year
extensions,
normally,
or?
but,
He can, bond companies will typically do like a 6-month extension or a 3-month extension.
but you're looking
You
for
can do
longer
that.
than that. Is your bonding company gonna be able to give us?
But it's an insurance company bond, it's not a letter of credit. So they would probably do 1 year.
Whatever, I just want to make sure we're saying the right thing, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, the
Well, we haven't
extension
made a
is
motion.
subject to
Let's-
the extension of the collateral. I mean, that's.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to extend the Eagle Ridge bond? Is that the only bond for Eagle Ridge? Do I just refer to it that way, or is it the road bond, or?
That would be
It's
the,
one bond.
that would be the
It's performance
performance bond, and then from there, it'll have to go into a maintenance bond.
Okay, so do I have a motion to extend the Eagle Ridge performance bond through December 12th, 2014?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And can I just amend that motion that if the bonding company gives a different maturity date, that we're comfortable at any time between, basically its current expiration to the extension that they'll
Okay.
grant you?
That's fine.
Okay, so as amended, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. There's no other items on our agenda for tonight, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, guys, have a great evening.